There's an interesting relationship that some people have with water, and not everybody has it. But for those who recreate on water, I think especially rivers and oceans, it's irreplaceable.
Oh, man.
You can't find it in any other aspect of life.
Yeah.
If you've got a hardcore saltwater dude, he can't find that same happiness or satisfaction or challenge or feeling anywhere else. Same thing with rivers.
Yep.
Same thing with rivers. I've got it bad with rivers. I love being on rivers.
You and I are from the same mold there, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. The Six Ranch Podcast is brought to you by Sig Sauer. SIG is a leading provider and manufacturer of firearms, electro-optics, ammunition, air guns, and suppressors. For over 250 years, Sig Sauer Inc. has evolved and thrived by blending American ingenuity, German engineering, and Swiss precision. Today, Sig Sauer is synonymous with industry-leading quality and innovation, which has made it the brand of choice amongst the U.S. military, the global defense community, law enforcement, competitive shooters, hunters, and responsible citizens. Sig Sauer is also a premier provider of elite firearms instruction and tactical training at the Sig Sauer Academy located in New Hampshire. For more information about Sig Sauer and its complete line of products, visit sigsauer.com. Well, speaking of traditions, this show was born here in this camp in Hell's Canyon. We've done an episode at Spring Bear Camp every year, and this year we're doing it with you.
Wow.
You just got yourself a brand new jet boat.
I did.
That thing's pretty sweet. What do you think of it?
I really, really like it.
How long did you
awesome.
think about that design?
So I've thought about a new boat for quite a while. And I've actually had contacted Bruce and talked to him before about an inboard jet setup.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really want a big V8 in the back of my boat.
Right.
And so I was struggling with that. And then all of a sudden he had this new mid-engine design with this sweet little, EcoJet.
Yeah.
2.3 liter super powered thing. And
so crazy that you can get that much power out of that small of an engine.
So, I don't know if I would have jumped on that with just anybody, but with Bruce, I just know the quality of the boats he builds, and I completely 100% trust, what he has to say about what he builds and what he's doing. And
well, he's a legend in the jet boat world.
He is, and the setup is just premier and perfect for what I like to do. That's being open, 360 degrees around the console. I'm a center console guy. I know they kind of aren't totally in vogue with a lot of people, but I've always liked operating my boat from that position. You can see really well.
Yeah. So it's a great place to run a boat from.
Yeah.
If you go back east or to Florida or Texas, center consoles are the standard.
Yeah.
And then you get to the Pacific Northwest and suddenly people want to yell about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's like having a person stand in the middle of your boat all the time. It's a wonderful place to be. And with that, where you can go all the way around it, I mean, it's a pretty slick setup.
Yeah.
Like that's a really, really clean build. So that's called the Chinook 22 from Rogue Jet Boat Works.
Yep.
Shout out to Bruce. Wish he was here.
Oh, man.
Love that guy.
Yep.
Been at a couple Spring Bear camps with him, and He's just fantastic.
Yep.
And there's some debate about whether this is your 6th or your 8th jet boat.
Well, my wife is sure it's been at least 8. But it's possible I could have lost track of a boat or two, but I think it's my 6th.
So you've been running jets for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah.
What got you into it in the first place?
Access. You know, they can get you places you can't otherwise get. I own drift boats and rafts, so I do the downriver stuff a lot as well. But, there's jet boat allows you to run up the river, set up a camp, go up and down, repeat,
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of advantages. And then in the early years, I used them a lot duck hunting, like on the Willamette.
Okay.
And so I could put in the dark and run up the Willamette to a good spot and set out decoys and shoot ducks. And
running at night still scares me.
I've run in the fog was so thick you would lose you couldn't lose your sense of even what's up and what's down rather than what's left and right. You're just like in a complete fog bank, and you just cut her back to nothing and just creep and crawl and try to get along the bank where you could see something to follow. Yeah, just to get to a duck spot and set out decoys in the pitch dark. Those were, younger years when I was...
It's amazing that we survived.
I know.
Isn't it?
Some of the stuff you did.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You do a bunch of fishing on the Oregon coast?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you fishing for out there?
All the anadromous species, steelhead, winter and summer steelhead, fall chinook, spring chinook, coho. I love sea run cutthroat. I fly fish a lot for sea run cuts.
That's something that I know next to nothing about other than reading The River Why. Tell me about
Not a great book.
It is a great book. Yeah.
On the sleds, by the way.
Yeah. So tell me about sea run cutthroat. They're an interesting species.
They are, and they've come back pretty well. I know they went through, like a lot of coastal anadromous fisheries have had their ups and downs, but sea run cuts are, from my view of the universe, are strong. They're doing really, really well. I mainly fish for them in the fall, so they come in, they start showing up in the tidal zone, right the break between tidewater and freshwater, and in August, mid to late August, and into September. They're really strong. They're always around in the estuary if you want to go, chase them. I've never really done too much of that. When I fish for them primarily, when they're coming into the river. When
you're fly fishing for them, how are you fishing?
Just cast into the bank and strip. There was a gentleman that lived on the Slets River, not too far from where I have a cabin on the Slets. Borden is his last name. He developed a pattern called the Borden Special, and it's the go-to sea run cutthroat fly for pretty much everybody.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a version on the LC they call the LC Special, but it's kind of a shrimp imitation. It's got some pink and
gotcha.
Yeah, but anything you can catch sea run cuts on anything with a little bit of color.
They're pretty aggressive.
Yeah, they're very aggressive, and you just cast into the bank and strip them. It's kind of a wet fly strip presentation. You just and they're just under the surface. You don't have to go deep. Once middle of the day, if you want to try to catch them when the sun's up in the water, you might do a intermediate or a sink tip and get down a little deeper.
How big are they?
The majority of them are 12 to 16. I've caught 24-inch.
Wow.
You thought you had a steelhead.
Yeah.
You get a few in the 18 to 20-inch range every year.
Using a 5-weight?
I use a 5-weight,
yeah.
4 to 6 is but 5-weight's kind of the go-to. That's your kind of everybody's trout fly rod.
And do you run your jet boat out into the salt at all?
I do, yeah.
What do you do out there?
I fish the estuaries for fall chinook. We crab, fish the jaws, spin some herring.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly fall chinook. I do a little bit of, bottom fishing too.
Yeah.
I love bass, lingcod, cabezon, all
What
that stuff.
What do you have to do to keep these boats healthy after running them in salt water?
Oh man, it's pre and post.
Okay.
So you want anything that's could and would corrode. There's a variety of products out there, but if nothing else, just WD-40.
Okay.
And just all your connections and anything that's it's not stainless steel. Treat them before and after, and then of course you've got to. After I run, I always find fresh water and run. When I'm coming out, I go up the river and back down into a boat ramp in fresh water and just run my kicker and my main motor for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If I got crab pots on board, I dip the crab pots
through and,
just circulate everything, wash it out good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not that big of a deal.
No.
I've wanted to go over there and take my boat over and do some crabbing. Crab is like such a delicacy. It's such a tremendous meat, especially Dungeness.
It's so amazing.
Yeah. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the months that are good for crabbing are good for hunting.
They are.
Or it's wintertime and it's pretty treacherous for me to get a boat over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the old rule of thumb is any month that has an R in it.
Okay.
Yeah, is a good crab month. But, I mean, if you're picky, and you should be, even in the months where a lot of the crab are soft, you just cull the soft crab out and you'll still find some good full hard crab mixed in. I mean, you can go in July and get crab and just have to cull out the soft ones, throw them back, let them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just be picky.
Because they're molting, and when they
create
a new shell that's soft and then hardens, their meat hasn't filled it up
yet. Filled out,
yeah.
And there's no reason to waste and whack a empty-shelled crab.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you cook them?
So I bring back the crab in salt water, and we shell them live. We'll split them down the back and kill them immediately. So you lay them down, boom, split them, kills them immediately, back them, clean them, and then cook the two halves in salt water from the bay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I have a steamer, but it boils up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big stainless steel pot. You can do a lot of crab that way. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go through the process 4 times to get all your crab done.
Yeah.
But we don't really, we're not like go get limits of crab.
Yeah.
Usually there's 2 to 4 of us.
Right.
Maybe 6. How many crab do you need? And that we really love them fresh. You get what you can eat in a couple days.
Yeah.
So we just throw enough pots to get what we need to eat. And we don't, we're not out to always limit out. It doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
We just want what we can eat.
Well, and you've got
so we're picky.
Fairly ready access to them.
And then we're going to go out tomorrow or the next day. And sometimes
it's not like an expedition.
A lot of times we're crabbing and fishing, and so we'll just throw out a couple pots, go out and fish, come back, pull the pots, and have crab for dinner.
Can you freeze it? Does it freeze well?
You can, and we actually have for the first time we froze some crab. It actually was delicious. It worked out really well. We didn't even do anything special. There's all kinds of little tricks people have, put them with milk with them or salt water and freeze them in salt water. And I just vacuum packed them with, they're really moist, right?
Yeah.
So you put some paper towels in when you vacuum pack them. It kind of absorbs some moisture so you're not wasting your vacuum packer full of crab juice. And
I got one of those chamber vacs last year.
Yeah.
And I can vacuum seal water in that thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, those are.
And that was I got it from Costco, and I think it was $600.
Probably worth every penny of it.
Totally. I use that thing
You're doing
so
a lot of
often.
meat. Yeah. I should get
all
one of
the
those.
time.
I don't know why I haven't, because I've went through enough of the cheap ones to pay for 2 good quality one chamber ones.
And those bags aren't cheap either.
No.
And the little like vacuum sucker ones, it seems like a high percentage of those bags don't end up sealing correctly because they get a little bit of liquid in them.
Yep.
And then you're wasting that meat if you don't catch it in time and gets in the freezer. You're contending with seals and sea lions when you're fishing out there quite a bit.
In some locations, yeah.
So
not everywhere, but yeah.
You told me an interesting technique about trying to save a salmon, because what's happening is you're reeling in a salmon and that commotion attracts a seal or sea lion, and they'll come in and take the salmon off your line.
Right.
So how do you were telling me earlier, but how do you prevent that?
You just you give them a chance by just free spooling it.
Okay.
And let him run.
Yeah.
Let them run. They've got a chance of getting away if you let them run. If you're fighting them, they're dead. If a seal's on them, I've had them literally grab them in the net.
Interesting.
They'll chase them. You can net a salmon, and I've had seals come up and grab them in the net. And people will haven't been out there, and you catch a nice hen, and they want to bleed the eggs, right? So the eggs will get the blood out of them because they want salmon eggs, and they'll put them back in the water, cut to bleed, and seal come up and drill them. I'm like, no, do not put your salmon in the water. Not all locations are like that, but the Slet's Jaws it's just full of seals. It's a battle. So you let them free spool, and the salmon has a chance to get away. And then you got to chase them down and hope they didn't get caught.
Yeah.
And it works. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on this river before?
I have not.
It's pretty cool down here, isn't it?
I'm in love.
Yeah.
It's so stoked. Yeah. No, absolutely gorgeous. I knew it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I don't know a little bit of what this country's about, but to be here in person and experience it has been spectacular, absolutely spectacular. Yeah.
I got to hike around more on this trip than I usually do, and I did about a 12-mile loop. And it is amazing. Everywhere that there's a flat spot, there was a home.
Yeah.
And there's all this hay equipment up there, really heavy stuff, spring tooth harrows and discs. And I found a two-bottom plow, horse-drawn two-bottom plow. I found a pickaxe that was next to an unmarked shallow grave that didn't have rocks on top of it. There's such an interesting human history here that is starting to feel old, but really it was only 60 years ago that all these people were here scratching out a living in this incredibly tough place. But it is so beautiful right now. The grass is green. The flowers are popping out.
Yeah.
We've had snow. We've had rain. We've had sun. We've had wind. I had a pretty miserable day up there. It snowed about 6 inches on top of my little teepee. And
we were thinking of it, man.
Yeah.
We're down here in the wall tent with the buddy heaters going.
Yeah. Yeah, because you guys are smarter than me.
You go out there in that country and you see the remnants of, folks that have lived and cut out a living in this country. And you just wonder how they even got those tools, that equipment there.
Yeah.
Let alone operate it and run and plow a field and raise a crop and run cow. I mean, there was some hardy human beings.
And I am smoke checked by the time I get up to that bench.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, that's what you had to do before you started work.
Yeah.
And work wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
There's some hardy, hard-working folk.
And a lot of what's left now is just orchards. These fruit trees. And it's amazing because instead of being like nice, big, broad fruit trees like folks are used to seeing, these are really tall and narrow because the bears climb them and break all the branches off every year. So there's just big piles of limbs at the base of all of them from the bears just destroying all these trees.
Eating all the fruit.
Yeah. But lots of blackberries, lots of roses, huge number of roses. I was chewing on rose hips and found a couple little morel mushrooms. But there's quite an abundance this time of year. We had ourselves quite a bass fry the other night. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. You caught a huge bass. I think it was a monster.
That was a big smallmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not like super experienced smallmouth catcher, but I'm thinking it was a big one. A really big smallmouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's stupid how many bass are in this river.
Yeah. There's a pile of bass. There's so many
the big guy had
non-native species. Yeah, he had a
smolt.
Yeah, steelhead smolt.
Steelhead smolt in his belly.
And that's a big part of the problem with
I guess
these
I
things.
put one away that's going to eat another smolt. Maybe I saved another smolt.
Oh, for sure. But, they're putting, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of smolt in the river and, expecting
feeding the bass.
A very few number to return. And
They've
just got a gauntlet. They've got the bass to face here, and then lower down they've got the walleye. It's crazy.
Then when they get over the dams and head out on the Columbia, they've got cormorants.
Yeah,
and
sea lions and seals.
And
yeah, no, it's a tough life. And then they get to the ocean and have to figure out how to survive out there for a few years, and then come back through it all again.
Pretty amazing.
It is amazing. Anadromous fish are so incredible.
They are,
and so important to the ecosystem too. Yeah, everything here benefits from getting those nutrients from the ocean back here. And the fish are the vehicle for that.
Yep.
It's just incredible to me.
Yep.
Just incredible. When did you start hunting? Have you hunted forever?
I have. It's interesting. I started hunting. I started going out with my dad when I was, actually my first memory of hunting, I was 3.5. I know I was 3.5 because my mom was in the hospital delivering my little brother.
Really?
And I'm 3.5 years older than him. So, and it was in September. We lived down on the coast out of in Coquille, and I went pigeon hunting with my dad and his friend. And my dad decided I needed to pull the trigger on a 12 gauge when I was 3.5. So he set up on a log a bunch of empty shotgun casings, and he called them engines.
Okay.
And he said, I want you to shoot the Indians. Not politically correct, I know. But that, come on, this was...
Different time.
It was a different time. We're talking 1957, 58.
Yeah.
And I got down, and he was behind me, and I pulled the trigger on a 12 gauge. The recoil, my thumb hit my nose and gave me a bloody nose. So I pulled the trigger the first time when I was 3.5 on a 12 gauge. So long time.
Yeah.
There was no hunter safety requirement in Oregon. The first year I hunted, I was 11 and killed a blacktail. And the next year, I was 10. Killed a blacktail when I was 10. The next year at 11, Oregon instituted the hunter safety program first year, and you had to be 12 to hunt big game. So I killed a blacktail when I was 10, but I couldn't hunt when I was 11. And then when I was 12, I took the hunter safety course. I was the youngest kid in the course.
Yeah.
And we went out. Part of the program, the end of the hunter safety, was you go to a range and shoot. And I was out there with a Remington Model 700 30-06 of my dad's. And the instructor's like looking at me, and he's going like, well, what are you doing with this? I'm like, I've been shooting it for 4 years. I mean,
Yeah.
Shouldered that baby and hit the target, and he was pretty impressed. So then I got to hunt again. So I started at 10, shot my first deer at 10, didn't get to hunt 11, then 12 on. So, yeah, we hunted deer, elk, ducks, pheasant, pigeons on the coast.
Yeah.
Were a big deal in those days. So, yeah, a lot of hunting.
I shot indoor archery competition as a little kid and then onwards. And the first bow that I had was a hand-me-down hunting recurve, a Browning that was made in 1967, I believe.
Wow.
It was 55 pounds. And that was a lot to pull as a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
And almost everybody else was shooting target bows that were, 28 to 32 pounds. And, I had a lot of coaches that like, you need to get rid of that bow. It's like, this is the bow I got. and I shot well with it. I won the competitions, but I think it's interesting when you have a shooting sport that deviates away from its origins like that. You wouldn't take that 28-pound target bow out hunting, but the purpose of an archery competition, in my mind, is to demonstrate a skill that you would use for the purpose of the bow, which is hunting.
All right.
And it made a lot more sense for me to be able to compete with a hunting bow than to try and game it by using something else. And fortunately, we've seen some shift in the shooting community, even with rifles now. So now we've got rifle competitions that have a hunting rifle class, and your bullet has to have the correct power factor, so it has to hit hard enough to be considered, a correct cartridge for hunting. And it has a weight limit, so you can't use a super heavy gun like you would use in some other competitions.
Right.
I really like that.
Yeah.
There's an honesty in that I really appreciate, and it's almost the difference between like a PRCA rodeo and a ranch rodeo. All rodeos started with cowboys coming together to see who had the best skills in their job as cowboys and stuff that they would be doing on a ranch.
Right.
And then somehow we got bull riding and barrel racing out of that.
Right.
And it's no, those aren't real things. Barrel racing much more to an extent than bull riding, but they're terrific events and require a lot of skill both from the animal and the person. I'm not trying to take away from that, but
and they're entertaining.
Yeah, and they're entertaining,
which is why they're in the rodeo.
But if you go to a ranch rodeo, then you're going to see stuff that people have to do on ranches.
Skills.
Yeah. I like that more.
Ranch skills,
Yeah.
I get it.
You were telling me earlier about a scholarship project that you work on, and I think that is a really cool thing, and I would like for more people to know about that, and I'd honestly like to see it instituted in more places.
Yeah. Well, my in a prior life, I had a guide's license and partnered with my late brother, Jeff. And when I got a real job, he took over the guide business on his own. I just helped him out a little bit. And then he started teaching school. And he started a nonprofit called Outdoor Adventures Unlimited, which sole purpose was to introduce young people to the outdoors through the river, doing river trips. Mm-hmm. And teach life skills, leadership skills. Worked a lot with kids in transition that maybe needed to find, a path in life that was meaningful for them and help them out of some tough situations. He tragically passed away in a freak automobile accident in 1995, and we started a scholarship program at the high school where he was teaching, Staten High School, in his honor. And the real purpose of the program was not to give money to kids so much as was to continue his legacy of taking kids to the outdoors and teaching them those life skills. So we've been able to continue to deliver that program since 1996. We take up to 24. It's kind of a permit limitation on the Deschutes. We go to the Deschutes River, so we take up to 24 high school seniors from Staten High School on a 2-day river trip, and kind of still pattern that after the program that my brother developed. So we splash and giggle on the river and have fun rafting, and then we set up camp on the Deschutes at the Beaver Tail. It's a traditional spot. And then what they had done with the kids for years was kind of following a Native American custom with the talking circle. And so we still use that technique where in the evening we go up on the Beaver Tail with the kids right at sunset. It's a very powerful setting. It's gorgeous. It can be it's just like the kind of the perfect outdoor setting for these high school kids who many or most of them have never. It always shocks me how few of these kids really have done much in the outdoors. And in the talking circle concept, everyone gets to speak once about what's going on in their life. You're just sharing, where you're at emotionally, and nobody judges you. Nobody gives you any feedback. We always say there's 24 kids, you're going to talk once and listen 23 times. And so you get to hear from everyone else, and it's a super powerful, amazing kind of moment for these young people. And I think it helps them just clear their minds. These are seniors coming up on graduation. They've got so much going on. Everybody's asking them, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, and they get to clear their heads a little bit and hear what's going on in everybody else's life. And it's been really just an honor for me to be able to continue my brother's legacy and be a part of that for now. I don't know, do the math. What is it? 30 some years?
Yeah.
Consecutive years. Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
We give money away. We give some kids some money. We try to pick a couple kids out of the group that maybe need a little more help than others. It's not about, we don't care what your GPA was or what.
Right.
We have one question on the application is, what have you done for others in your time at state and high school and whatever.
Yeah.
And we teach a simple leadership formula called helping, health, and knowledge. And so it's just kind of a simple little formula that kids really can grasp, and so, yeah, it's been good for me. I always feel blessed, and I'm always feel like, why does my brother get killed in an accident, and then I get to have this experience for the next 26 years and be around these amazing young people, and so it's helped me be a better man, a better person, for sure.
Like the David James Duncan book, that's what the river's asking you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. The river why.
Yeah. There's an interesting relationship that some people have with water, and not everybody has it. But for those who recreate on water, I think especially rivers and oceans, it's irreplaceable.
Oh, man.
You can't find it in any other aspect of life.
Yeah.
If you've got a hardcore saltwater dude, he can't find that same happiness or satisfaction or challenge or feeling anywhere else. Same thing with rivers.
Yep.
Same thing with rivers. I've got it bad with rivers. I love being on rivers.
You and I are from the same mold there, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Rivers are special.
I think we got around on boats. I think that people populated the planet and moved around on boats, and we don't give that enough credit. And that's kind of part of our DNA and who we are as a species.
Yeah.
So it feels natural to do that.
Navigate on rivers, move things on rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had, jet boats and engines and noise and power.
Not everybody likes that.
Yeah, I like that.
I know.
I don't know engines very well, as you found out, but gosh, I like them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always I started out as a rafter drift boat guy.
Yeah.
Even though I've had jet boats a long time, and I kind of understand, some of the floating community doesn't care that much for power boats, but I'm always super respectful for the downstream folks. Really careful around them. I've helped them when they've gotten in trouble.
You're the first call. If rafters will cuss jet boaters all day long until they need help, and then that's the first call they make.
I've been on the Deschutes where the wind was blowing up river so hard, there were rafts that could not get downriver.
Yeah.
Could physically not get downriver. They couldn't move.
Yeah.
It was blowing so hard. Everybody rowing and paddling as hard as they couldn't move. And I've just hooked them up and drug them to camp.
Yeah. It's happened on these rivers, on the Snake and Salmon. Yeah. And a lot of times it happens day after day,
Oh, yeah.
About 2:00, that wind starts coming up, and it's like a blast furnace in your face, and you just can hammer into it for all you're worth. And some of these big pools, you just can't make it down them.
Yeah. I think there's, if everybody's respectful, we take care of each other, there's plenty of room for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. And a lot of it's just attitude.
Yep.
If I'm going upriver and there's just one raft party after the next, and I'm getting up on plane and then idling back down, I can get annoyed with that too.
Right.
But it's all right. It's no big deal. It's all fun.
It all happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a fun way to hunt too.
Oh, it is.
It's hard. Everywhere's uphill.
It's all. Yeah, it's easy. It's a good way to scout a lot of country.
Yeah.
In a shorter period of time than you can do on foot, but you still got to go up to where you find them.
Yeah.
It's in this country. It's all steep and long. And
it's often a trick with wind too, because if you've got that wind going uphill and you're starting in at the bottom, how do you do it?
Right.
Got
to always figure out the wind.
Real trick.
Yep.
We lucked out today with that bear that I killed because the wind was coming downstream.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and it was storm-driven wind. It's getting cold.
Yeah.
Definitely got weather coming back in on us. The good times are over as far as temperature and sun. But, turned out in our favor, and we were able to get that bear killed. And
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What a trip.
Yeah. And your daughter killed her first bear?
She did.
Your son-in-law killed his first bear?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly, I watched the YouTube video of you guys here at Spring Bear 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And with Bruce, and I had my boat coming, and I told Kyle, my son-in-law, I said, I'm going to get that new boat. Let's go to the Hell's Canyon and do a Spring Bear trip. And he's like, cool, yeah, all right. We're clueless, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going to launch. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't even know. I went online and ordered the book from the BLM on the river.
Yeah, that's a great map.
Yeah, it's a good map. Started reading about it and doing some, I got a boat ordered from Bruce, so Bruce is happy to, I'm his customer. And
yeah.
Talk a little bit with him, and then Kyle's like, well, I'll call Sean. And you had met Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'll call Sean and James, see if they want to go. So the guy has never been here before and doesn't even have a bear tag. I actually initiated the trip, even though I was clueless.
Yeah.
Because I had a new boat and I wanted to get it.
Yeah.
I wanted to come. I saw you guys down here and I'm like, I want to go down there. I want to do that. That looks awesome.
Well, I'm glad you did. It's been really fun. It's been cool hanging out with you. I've got to fish with Kyle once before, and
he told me about that.
Yeah. We had a good time. And then Julie, she's just a treasure. You raised a good kid there. What's the life advice that you gave her?
Oh, yeah. I've got a number of things with my daughter, but what I always told her, I said, sweetie, I'm going to tell you the meaning of life, and I want you to think about it. And I think you'll get it figured out. It's like, all you can do is fish good water well. She's kind of probably scratching her head a little bit, trying to figure out what that means exactly. She knows I'm a fisherman. She thinks it's all about fishing. But no, it's not about fishing. It's about just, find a good path and do the best you can on it, So, yeah.
And
I don't know if it worked. I know it worked. I don't know if that had any impact, but yeah, she's done well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good.
And there's a great number of fishing philosophies that are wonderful metaphors for life.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, if folks haven't read The River Why,
You
that's a standard book.
That's an unbelievable fun book.
My degree is in literature and writing, and when people find that out, they say, "Oh, well, have you read X book?" Like, no, never really. Like, yeah, I haven't read all the books quite yet. So I'm pretty reluctant to recommend books to people, but I can go ahead and endorse that one. That's a good book.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I've got it. I think I've read it twice, and now that you've brought it up, I'm going to go read it again because it's always fun. But I've got it at our cabin on the sleds. I've got it on the bookshelf there. A number of books there, and that's one of them that I always tell people.
Very cool.
Read this thing. Really super good.
Well, sir, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You've got a beautiful boat there, and it's going to take you on a lot of adventures in some really cool places. And I'm looking forward to coming over to your side of the state and catching a crab.
Crab at a fall Chinook, man.
Oh, man.
My friend, you're so welcome. Look forward to, I say this with all honesty. I mean, you got my number, and anytime.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome in our part of the state. And thank you for everything you've done to make this an awesome trip.
Oh, man. It's been great. It's been great.
Taught me a lot. So,
well, thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
So I found this old ad, and there's like dudes dressed up like construction workers, and a guy's got a jackhammer, and there's a crane, and they're moving all these big steel beams and stuff.
Aladdin Stanley Thermos. Stanley, the top all-steel thermos bottle that's completely dependable.
They're showing this thermos like falling off this building and hitting all this other construction stuff.
And built to take a bounding year after year. Get the top one.
Oh, it lands in a wheelbarrow. The guy grabs it out of the wheelbarrow. Now he's going to pour himself a cup of coffee. I love these cheesy old ads. And most of the time, like, they're lying to us, right? That's most of what marketing used to be, was just like telling a lie, or at least telling a version of a lie that made you think that you needed this thing. But I'll tell you what, when it's cold out like it is right now, the only way to keep liquid and not freezing in your pack is by putting it in something that's insulated. So packing a thermos in the wintertime is really smart, whether it's for a hot beverage like coffee, or if you just want to bring some water with you, which is a really important thing if you're going to be out adventuring around in this snow that we've got all over the country. And I think you should be, because it's a great time of year to get out and about. This is both a comfort and a safety thing. If you want to get something from Stanley, which I encourage you to do, you can use the discount code 6RANCH. That's the number 6 in the word ranch, and that'll get you 25% off of just about anything on their website. I encourage you to do that. They're great supporters of the show, and great supporters of this audience. And I love you guys. So stay warm out there. Have a nice warm drink, and make sure you're drinking it out of a Stanley product. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share the show with a friend. You can also rate the podcast and leave a review. Your support allows me to keep doing what I love, which is meeting incredible folks and sharing their stories with you. For more content and photos, follow the show on Instagram at 6Ranch Podcast, or me at 6Ranch Outfitters. This episode was produced by Emily Brannigan, with original music written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the 6Ranch Podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Christofferson. Tune in every Monday for a brand new episode of the 6Ranch Podcast. I'll catch you next week.